Welcome to Isn't It Obvious, where things are obvious. That's going to be the intro.
So The Sims is clearly just,
Oh my
also
god, every
just
time.
autocracy, because they have no free will of their own. You dictate everything you do as the overwhelming leader of their sense
God.
of government.
That's the true God. One true God.
Right.
No, the true God is, black and white? That's where you're the true God.
Like Pokemon Black and White?
No, Black and White by Lionshead Studio, released in
Dang it.
2001. You were a literal god that had a giant bipedal animal as your wrath giver.
I'm gonna stick with my Pokemon Black and White. That was a fun game. Anyway, what were we doing?
Before we start, I do have to mention this, though, because there was this game, I forgot what it's called, but my friends were playing it. It looked kind of like Age of Empires, but it wasn't, where you don't control the characters to build a town. It's kind of like in a Roman setting. You have incentives, and you keep spending money to create bounties against criminals, or
Is this
you
Civilization?
need to clear this land. It's kind of like civilization building,
No.
but you don't get to click on a peasant and say, I want you to build this plot. You just simply say, I'm going to increase the cost of this service until someone picks it up. And it was the first game where it felt like, oh, you create incentives for people to do things rather than just command them by a sword point. And I thought oh, that's a really clever way of explaining how modern economies work in a video game made from 1998. Anyway, just...
Right.
So here's my Isn't It Obvious? Isn't it obvious that when typing on the internet, there needs to be a sarcasm font, distinct, like wingdings, very clear that everyone understands.
It's just slash S. It's just slash S. Haven't you guys been on the internet before?
I still disagree with either slash S or the font. If they don't get it, then they aren't supposed to get it. That's part of the obfuscation of the internet.
No, I think sometimes it's important to actually put a slash S or whatever after whatever you say, because some people might actually take you seriously without the context.
That's part of the point.
No.
If people miss it, the fact
I suppose if you want to take
point is that they missed it.
I suppose if you want to take ownership of the thousands and thousands of PMs and comments that you'll get in response to your slightly insensitive sounding comment without, knowledge of it being sarcasm, that's on you, I guess. But if you wanted to note that you are being sarcastic to avoid the thousands and thousands of angry
the main crux
trolls
of this
or whatever.
Is the inflammatory.
Nice try.
Inflammatory.
I don't know.
It's
what
like dysentery, but it's inflated.
It's really hot poops.
No, the instant response and overreaction to a faux pas or a misunderstood joke is an issue that the internet needs to come to terms with. And if you include a sarcasm, that then takes away any type of subtlety or subtext that one can have in their post that is meant to be sarcastic, like flaming hot takes.
I mean, I understand the nature of sarcasm on the internet and how clever it could be, but you have to realize that many people that are reading it are not going to pick up on the subtle cues that sarcasm has in just blank text.
The internet is not meant to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
But that's what the internet...
Are you sure? Because I feel like that's exactly what the internet is for.
You're right. That's exactly what it appeals to right now.
Yes, because it's a modern technology of international communication that is less than 30 years old.
I will say
it is less than 20 years old as actually used by a majority of people around the world. We don't know what the hell we're doing with it yet. And this is one of the growing pains.
Okay.
Yeah, well...
No, as a purely aesthetic thing, I don't think there should be a separate font to denote sarcasm. That would drive my graphic artist mindset bonkers. I would hate that. Sorry,
okay,
Phil. I dismissed your idea purely on aesthetics.
But the issue here is that, fair enough, because that would be kind of annoying to see. But the issue I have with slash S is that it's that meme, oh, you got me in the first half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie. Because the slash S comes at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you get real angry up until you're oh, he wasn't...
what is this guy talking? Oh, he's just,
That's why you have to,
gotcha.
You know what? It's on you to read his whole statement then, or hers.
Well, yeah, okay. So it's a matter of media consumption. If you have something like that, then that is a lazy way out. That
read the article before you comment, you ass wipes.
Okay, first of all, never. And second of all...
Headline is good enough for a comment.
Oh my god.
Yes, and comments are good
You
enough
are
for a
the
headline.
worst.
I don't even read the headline. I just read the first comment and be like, wow, that's all I need to know.
That's all that I care about.
You guys are the absolute worst.
And
you
then
are
I switched to controversial.
You're not a moderator.
True.
the other side of it.
Right, but also lacking a specific sarcasm font means that people need to be more creative with the media as it is, or the medium as it is, in order to convey the sarcasm. Much like using /s. There are other ways, the whole alternating capitalization to make it just sound goofy.
Yeah, but it's also annoying to read.
Sarcasm.
That's also really annoying to read. But yes, that does denote whatever you're saying.
Limitations stimulate creativity.
But we're not at an age of limitation. It's not like we're paying per the letter. Right? It's not like we're doing Morse code here or like Telegram. Like this is.
Oh God, if the internet was Morse code, that'd be amazing.
This is the age of where people put a string of emojis to explain what movie is this. We're not paying.
Hey, that's a
by
very
the
fun
byte.
game.
It is, but that's the thing. It's like when you say, "Oh, we're limited by the characters or the text or the," it's like that's not true. People are throwing more crazy random stuff in there all the time. People adopt it, they enjoy it, and I'm saying that for people who don't have the nuance of picking up sarcasm and are not using the /s as like, "Oh, you got me the first half" sort of thing, which is funny when it does happen. But if someone is actually trying to be sarcastic, doesn't understand /s, and they just go like, well, it's so obvious that I'm being sarcastic to their heads. And then you can see like a series of messages underneath like, are you kidding? Like all these points are refuted. Like I can't believe you're a fat
either he's a troll or doesn't understand the fact that no one else can pick up on his sarcasm, and he deserves every comment he gets.
But those people that don't pick up on sarcasm in text probably don't pick up on sarcasm in humor either.
That's not true.
No, I feel like there's a problem because sarcasm lends itself very well to voice,
tone of voice,
and a visual cue.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of need both of them to kind of get the full picture, where text has a severe limitation on this to the point where we add /s, which is so infuriating because it's like, come on, you can clearly have a font so you know the guy is being stupidly sarcastic right in the beginning. Like right away, like, yep, this guy is entering a sarcastic comment now. I feel like this is something that should be widely adopted.
No.
And that
what would the font be then, Phil?
It has to be distinct, like not like distinct as
Comic Sans.
No,
Comic
that's already
Sans has a bad reputation now.
That's already Comic Sans is too common. You'd have to pick something that is not as common.
It has. Yeah.
You'd almost have to design your own like brand new font. Like it would have to be. It would have to look sarcastic. Like it would have to be like jumbled or something, kind of like your caps and non-caps.
So the thing that's already in place just needs to be a font with random capitalization?
Well, no, like it would be whatever you type it. You wouldn't have random capitalization. It would just be, there would still be upper and lower case. It would just be jumbled like a mess. Like it's following like a wave maybe.
It has to have the nature of the comic book guy in The Simpsons. Whatever his way of communicating, like his visualness needs to be somehow reduced to font. That's what I think. That's what
how does one reduce a person to a font, Phil?
Well, he's the wrong person to ask. But you can ask.
No, it should be like Death in Discworld. All lowercase but capitalized. Or sorry, very small but capitalized.
Oh.
So half the regular font size for whatever program, and it's always capitalized. That's sarcasm.
Well, the problem with that is that, like, I see when people do this as, like, they're, like, whispering it. So in real conversation... Well, yeah, even when it's capitalized. Like, if it's a smaller font, and I often
like
imagine,
caps lock.
like,
Everything.
caps locked.
Yes.
Cruise control for cool.
Squeak. Oh, that reader was great. Anyway.
So I don't think... I don't like the idea of a separate font, only because you're gonna F with everyone's social media platform font choice then.
I mean, we all agree we just need to do away with social media platforms.
I like Reddit. I mean, certain.
But that's a forum. That's not a social media platform.
It's social media.
Wait, no.
It's totally social media.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Micah, but that's
it's a forum.
totally...
How is it social media?
People are social and share. They have usernames and they have their little communities that they share things on socially, and they share media, memes, and articles and pictures of their, them doing things, events. Totally social media.
Yeah. You can be anonymous, but you could also be public. Oh, how could it? Okay, so what is your classic example of social media then?
Facebook.
It has Facebook. Yeah. It has a lot of features that Facebook has.
Yeah, it's just better.
But there isn't the same drive of. I guess there is the upvote, isn't there?
Yep. There's likes, and you can be anonymous, but you don't have to be. And just like on Facebook, you can create your own identity on Facebook. You don't have to be you. You just have to have an email address, and you can post whatever you want and be whoever you want.
Needs to know that you're a dog on Facebook.
You can have a Facebook for your dog, your duck,
Devin Nunes'
your cat, your baby. Disgusting.
I feel like they're really like when people on Reddit say something like, I don't like social media. It's like, but you're on social media. Like
you're legit on it.
You have
it's
to,
just a
like
better platform.
Well,
full of less. I mean, you can. And the cool thing about Reddit is that it's grouped into subreddits where you can just sort of lurk there. You don't have to see the shitty ones that you can avoid those. Whereas Facebook is more family oriented, so you have to. There's like this weird. You can't unfriend your shitty, uncle or your stupid cousin.
Yes, you can.
I mean, you can, but then like there's family drama consequences.
Right.
Just
there's
like,
not without penalty.
So you might as well just mute them. But you still are. I almost feel like you're almost held hostage on Facebook, whereas Reddit, you can kind of be anonymous and no one has to know your handle, and you can just be there freely and enjoy posting cute dog and cat pictures and being like, oh, look at my kittens, or oh my gosh, that dog is so cute. I want to just give him all the love and pets. Like it's more wholesome if you stick to the wholesome subreddits.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say there's a lot of.
But you can avoid those. Like you don't like. There's no. You can just block those.
The Donald is super wholesome.
That doesn't exist anymore.
It's because it's so wholesome. It was so wholesome they had to take it out.
Yeah.
People were just too unproductive of all that wholesomeness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were ass wholesome.
I was gonna say there's something wrong with. Okay, so you know how emojis have a certain type of standard, right? Like so, Apple and Samsung and all these other type of cell phone manufacturers, they have to stick to a script. So if it's like an embarrass or a bee emoji, they have to follow suit. So there's like a certain standard that they have to kind of like comply with. And I'm not sure if fonts kind of fall into that, but I'm sure that they have like what are the classic Courier or Times New Roman. So I wouldn't think it would be that hard to just insert a free font, especially if it becomes more widespread, called Sarcasm font. The problem I think I have with my own idea is you need to have enough of an adoption of people saying, oh, I'm going to go ahead and change my font as I'm typing, right? Like that's just not...
That's annoying. No one will ever do that. It's way easier to just hit /S at the end.
And then
or
you
use
also
more
have the trolls.
O's, like, oh no, like then you could do that. That's sarcasm.
But then, if you incorporate that, because it's the internet, the worst people will come out and abuse it and say incredibly derogatory things in that font. Be like, it was just sarcasm.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. But the thing is, they do that anyway without sarcasm, so it's
but then how is including a sarcasm font going to improve the situation?
Yeah, okay,
more
it's like a 50-50 problem here. Like, if people use it correctly, then it's totally wholesome to have an eggplant emoji, right? Like, there's no problem
and
here.
If people were just and right, capitalism would be the best economic policy. But that is empirically not true.
I haven't thought about that angle where people would abuse like a font, right?
They
like
do,
that they would say
they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do people abuse the /S right now?
No, because it's too simple. Why would they?
Also, not to you don't know all of the instances in which /S is used.
That is true. That is true. But I haven't really seen any rampant abuse /S.
I'm just not a fan of /S. It just seems like
they're baiting you. They're baiting you until the very end. They're like, just kidding, JK.
Ugh, you might as well just say JK on it. And I'm like, that's just infuriating. Like, it's clever and it's funny, but also infuriating. I don't like it. Bigger issue I do have is that I'm not really sure what sarcasm serves, like the purpose of it on these forums. Like, because it's not like they're producing anything that's of value. They're simply kind of parroting what they believe their opponent is going to say /S. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I don't really care what the opponent has to say. I can just talk to the opponent. I don't need somebody pretending that they're opponent, making a really terrible argument, and then be like, oh, it's /S.
It's for the karma.
Like, no, this is not fruitful.
So there also needs to be an increase in media literacy of the internet to have productive dialogue, as opposed to just people trolling?
No, they're not even trolling. They're just there for, they're farming karma because the other people might think like them and get a laugh out of their sarcasm. And so they're like, I can add this totally unhelpful comment for likes, basically.
But what do likes...
They don't mean anything. They literally mean nothing. It's the most worthless form of currency.
How is it do you, like, accrue likes and you're able to
actually
purchase things with likes?
Well, okay, you aren't able to, like, purchase things, but if you have enough karma, like on Reddit, you can, like you can post on certain forums, certain subreddits.
So it's a manufactured exclusivity.
Yes, the assumption is you post interesting things and so your voice can be louder. Post things that other people like or agree with so you have more value, or your comments have more value, or your posts
comments are all
have
just
more
easy
value.
Karma grabs. Like,
people abuse that. So people sell accounts. They farm karma by reposting, and it's a huge problem. Like, not like who cares, because it's karma.
Go back to my original statement.
Yeah, who
all
cares?
Social media should go away.
No, I like Reddit.
Even Reddit. Now that I was gonna have Reddit just have it just still exist, but since now you've made a very compelling argument that
where else am I
abusable.
Where else am I gonna find a forum of like cute nail art pictures?
You'll have to go to cutenailartpictures.geocities.com.
Yeah.
No. I quit the internet. I'm done. I'll just go die.
I feel that should be a punishment for people if they do enough
they have to
deplorable things on other social media. They are relegated to only using GeoCities.
Oh God, the horror.
If they're good, they get upgraded to Tumblr.
Or YouTube, but like every 2 seconds it's an ad.
Oh God, I've been watching this British show that's 40 minutes long with 14 ads. It's an ad every like 2.5 minutes. It's almost unbearable.
Yeah, that is unbearable. I don't think I would do it. I would have been like, no, I give up. I'll just torrent it or something, or I'll get it later some other way.
I mean, that's just way too much effort.
It is.
And
At
plus,
that point,
I've
I'd be
already
like,
4 laptops from poorly
you know what?
torrenting.
Honestly, I don't torrent because I'm too lazy. Honestly, I'd rather just not watch it. I'll find a book or something. At that point, if it's like an ad every 2 minutes, I'm just like, that's too much. The reason I don't have TV, because I don't want to watch things with like a million commercials. At least in TV, it was like every 20 minutes, or no, it wasn't 20 minutes. It was like every 10 minutes, right?
Well, I was watching a lot of this television show where everyone hates it, but I enjoy it. And it was like every 20 minutes is the content, 10 minutes of ad. And then sometimes we would dip into 18 minutes of content, 12 minutes of ads.
Oh, gross.
Isn't that just the European production style where for an hour-long program, it's 50 minutes of content with just like all the ads back-ended. They don't intersperse the ads in between.
I often find that to be jarring because where's the ad break? Like when there
can
like
I
a little MIDI cliffhanger? I'm so used to having, and then now back to like the car chase and like they're right about to lunge themselves in front of a cliff, and then like, okay, now we're gonna watch a Tide Pod commercial or something like this.
Tide Pods.
They don't have that for like BBC shows. And I'm like, I can't handle this normal, smooth flow of storytelling. Like, I need to have those manufactured, spiky events that happen that just...
How dare you test my attention span?
Right.
I need to digest what happened. Why is Sherlock alive again? Didn't he just die?
I'm pretty sure cartoons back in the day, it was ads show for like 10 to 12 minutes, and then there was like 5 minutes of ads, and then it was another 10 to 12 minutes to finish up the show, and then there would be ads again. It was one break in the middle.
I don't know what you were watching. There were way more ads.
Well,
they had so many sugary things to sell you as a kid.
Toonami. They had the anime, like they'd have like little like mini cutscene. They'd kind of like fade out, and then it would be like a cutscene with like some cool art, and then it would go to ads, and then when the show was back on, it would have a similar cutscene thing. Or it'd be like, and then we're back, and then they'll just...
Wait, how often did you guess the Pokemon?
Oh, like that, yeah, just like that.
Yeah,
and usually, if it was the first 150, always got those right.
That's because they're the only ones that matter.
That's true.
Yeah, they are
true.
the best ones. Machop till the end of time.
But no, that's a good example, though. Like, just like that. Who's that Pokemon?
But wasn't there always a commercial break after the title? Because wasn't Dragon Ball Z the recap, the main theme commercial, then 10 minutes ad with the "we'll be right back," and then
maybe you're right. Maybe it was like no,
because I always remember a commercial really early on TV shows.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I remember watching like Letterman, and then they would always have the commercial right in the beginning.
They'd like do their little intro, and then it was break for commercial, and then they'd actually start the show.
Right.
That could be.
But I don't know if other shows... I know that, like, Adventure Time was a cartoon show that I liked, that it's, like, 15 minutes long. You could watch the whole thing without ads and then have the ad in the middle for the next episode. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of cute. Right now I'm watching these shows that we just get them, of course, like a streaming service. Yeah. And my children don't have any concept of ads.
Are you dealing with any problematic German Shepherds?
That one bothers me. That one really bothers me a lot.
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
What?
It is weird.
What are you guys talking about?
Paw Patrol.
Oh,
right.
Where there's all of these dogs that represent different emergency services. So you have like a medic dog that's a beagle or something.
Yeah,
you have a Dalmatian that's a firefighter dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Then there's a German Shepherd that's a cop.
Mm-hmm.
But the German Shepherd is also sometimes not just the police, but he represents the military.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait a minute.
That's not the same.
He was a cop in the previous episode, and now he's dressed up, donned in like camouflage for the military. And there's clearly something wrong here because the cop shouldn't be representing the military.
I would agree. That is a problem.
Yeah,
it's very problematic in light of the last 200 years.
Yep. Police are not the military. That's why they're separate. And yeah.
Except there's a very high hiring rate of those with military service into the police force.
That's true too.
I'm actually fine with that because they have more discipline.
No, they don't. They're more violent because they're trained to be a hammer, and every problem is a nail.
And they have less accountability in this scenario than they did in the military, because in the military they're very controlled, whereas police kind of get free reign a lot. I'm not saying that they have complete free reign, but like they have way less consequences, and they're not stuck, for example, on a base. They can go home at the end of the day.
Usually not in the city that they patrol.
That too.
There's just kind of a weird thought that I had with like, wait a minute, the police don't actually live in the community?
Mm-hmm.
Like
93% of the Portland Police Bureau don't live in Portland proper.
Is it because they don't get paid enough to live?
No, they get paid a lot, so they move to the suburbs.
They probably do it like partly because suburbs are just nicer to live in, but also like I wouldn't want to live in the communities. I have to be the hammer or whatever too, because if people
I disagree with that because that breeds mistrust amongst the authority figure, because they don't have a vested interest in maintaining the peace.
Yeah, but if everyone knows you're the cop in that community, they might treat you like shit. They might come and egg your house.
Well, if you're a shitty cop.
Or
but if you live
doing your
in
job,
that area,
though.
you have a vested interest in making that area the best it can be.
Legitimately, if you're just doing your job, trying to, maintain order, some shitty kid who is put in juvie or whatever because he did something stupid and got caught, if he finds out where you live, he and his buddies, or she, will come and egg your fucking house or ruin your car.
How's it different from being a teacher and getting that child in trouble at school?
There's no difference. That's why you don't tell your kids where you live.
Right.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't as a teacher tell any of my charges where I live. That's fucked up.
I feel like teachers typically don't shop in the same area that their students go to.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't.
I'd be like,
oh, hi, mister. Like,
nope, we're going to pretend I don't have a life outside of this, so you don't know that I'm not, like, I wouldn't know. Nope.
I mean, the fun thing, since you both are suburban princesses, growing up in a small town that is relatively poor, it's always fun to see your teacher's side hustle. Like a science teacher that also has to work at a gas station.
Oh, that's sad.
That is a sad thing.
Really sad.
Poor cities are really, really sad. Yeah. And when you're in the middle of an agrarian one, it's very depressing.
That just shows, like, education pays, but it doesn't. Hey, well, how much gas do you want in your car? Like, this is just...
That's true for most jobs.
Remember that homework is due pronto on Monday morning, and need I remind you that... Oh, sorry, here's your change. I remind you that your last project was a little subpar.
That hurts.
Also, the green handle's diesel. Every time.
It's not always, though. I swear to God, some gas stations just do whatever the heck they want.
Well, that's why you don't go to BP. BP's awful.
Yeah,
no, legitimately, it was the
BP,
same. It was the same. It was like both holidays, I'm pretty sure. And I went to a holiday where I'm used to. There's a black handle and a green handle. Well, then at other holidays, there's a red handle and a black handle, or it's a red handle and a green handle. And like, I'm flabbergasted. I'm just like, you know what? It's a good thing I can fucking read, because
that's kind of the cheat code.
That's the real cheat code there, because some people just decide on their own what color handle they're going to stick on.
Reading the pump explains the pump.
Yep, that's the truth.
I had a huge problem when I was in Iowa, just driving down south to get to Texas. And I had to Google, like, what the hell I was filling my car with, because I was freaking out. Because normal gas stations, it's like 93, 89, 8 or whatever, right? Like premium, and you have
81
like, the thing in
or
between.
87.
91, 93 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like this,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, oh, okay, I can get it. And there's like 85. I'm like, don't do that. That's bad. And then with the Iowa, the numbers were all fucked up. Like I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, wait a minute. Half of these, like there was like 5 or 6 of them, and I'm like, half of them says like there's a shit ton of ethanol in these ones, and I'm like, I don't want ethanol.
E85?
Yeah, but it doesn't say like E85 in a way I can understand it. I was just staring at these, and I'm like, okay, none of them are diesel, and they all have like some ethanol in there. Like they're all like very full of pride. Our gas stations have lots and lots of corn in them, so you should be happy. And I'm like, I am not. Like I don't know which one of these I should be using, and I don't want to fuck up my car by adding the wrong thing. And so I just went with like the second highest cost, and the whole time I'm like, is this car gonna blow up or just like stall or just not work anymore?
Turns out it was fine though.
It turns out that I was an idiot. Like if I would have read further, it would have said like, this is okay for your car if you just have regular gas like a normal person does. And, like it has that like little sign, I guess, on them.
Because I'm sure they've had people go like, what? What is
I
this?
was like, but these,
you just have to read.
Numbers are like Roman numerals. Like I don't understand why they're here. Like tell me which one I'm supposed to fill in my regular goddamn car. So,
you must be from that Minnesota. Here in Iowa, we have many gas options.
Yep. Most of it's corn though.
Well, I mean, it's not that our farms aren't as good as y'all's, so it's not fit for human consumption.
No, we just put corn right in that tailpipe right there.
To our fans from Iowa, that is what you all sound like.
Yeah, only because it's south of where we are. Anyway.
Don't worry, I'm self-deprecating about Minnesotans too.
It's fine. Our one Iowegian listener has a good sense of humor.
That's half the state, all right?
They have a good sense of humor. They'll forgive her.
I mean, what's really important is getting the coveted one Wyoming listener. Which, if you're out there,
people live in Wyoming.
Yell into the abyss that is Wyoming.
First female voter, though, was from Wyoming. That's all I can say about that state. Oh, and Devil's Tower is there, too. And really straight roads. That's all I got.
What? How do they have straight roads? It was like, it's very topographically dynamic due to glaciers.
Okay, well, all I remember when we were driving through Wyoming...
It's not like it's Kansas.
We were just driving, and it was like forever, and there were no curves. Most people design roads to like occasionally twist and turn so people don't fall asleep at the wheel and just drive off the road. So it gives just enough interest where you have to pay attention, where this, you can just go, and you're just going off into the sunset. Well, in this case, it was just like north-south, I think, but...
Maybe that's the appeal of Wyoming. It's the take a nap state.
It's the go for a nap drive.
Just get the right weighted brick
and
just put it on there, like like.
Well, no, it's like Montana. There's no
just
real
lock
speed
your
limit
wheel
there anyway, so you can just fall asleep.
Just lock your wheel and you'll be fine.
Yep. That's what the club is for, right? Just to maintain a straight line.
Yeah.
It always bothered me they didn't have like their wake up ridge in the center, right? Because. Like, I don't want to doze off the wrong way and, head on collision. Like, they should have...
I mean, who else is driving through Wyoming, though? Who you're going to collide with?
Anyone who's on a road trip. You have to go through Wyoming to get anywhere. No, you don't. You can just go around.
There's Colorado.
Yeah, so you can go around.
And there are better places to stop in Colorado than there are in Wyoming.
Oh, man.
This is true. In fact, there's gas station. There's like a gas station, and then they'll like have a sign like next gas station is 60 or 70 miles, so stop now. Like,
and it's actually the same gas station, and you're trapped in a Twilight Zone episode.
Is there really even a Wyoming? All right. Well, that's it for today's episode, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, something about sarcasm and the internet, and how we really should not have a font. I think that was the conclusion we reached.
It's so obvious that we need a font.
No.
Yeah, it is not obvious, Phil. Thus, you have been superseded, and that is how democracy works.
You're wrong. 2 votes.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.